It's gonna be fun. What is up, everybody? Ethan Newberry here for another Ginger Runner Live. This is episode number 34. I can't believe it. We're 34 years old, both of us, all of us together. No, it's not true. 34 weeks. It's been a long time. Very excited about today's show. No guest. We're talking running news, like running across the board news from the world record, from personal records, from course records to crazy incidents that have happened in the last couple of weeks, all dealing with running, triathlon, all that good stuff. Today's going to be a really good show. I've got a 10% beer that I'm going to be drinking tonight. So we all know how those shows usually turn out, and they're usually really good. Welcome, everybody. Really excited about today. Welcome to Ginger Runner Live. Let's do this. Ginger Runner. Yes. Ginger Runner Live, starting again. It's our weekly tradition, you and I. You are doing whatever you are doing, whether it's sitting in your living room watching from your couch, or I believe there's a viewer, Raul, is cooking dinner and watching Ginger Runner Live. So thank you for multitasking. I think that's a good thing. This has been an incredible and crazy fucking week. I'm going to start out with that. Lots to talk about, lots of news to get to in running and in sports and endurance sports and stuff like that, which I'm excited to talk about. But a lot happening in the Ginger Runner world and the Ginger Runner realm. Before I get to any of that, I obviously have to pop open my beer. So tonight, I haven't had this before. I've never tasted it. It's Clown Shoes Muffin Top. It's a Belgian style triple IPA. Anytime that there's a picture of people with muffin top and walking up to Clown Shoes, I'm assuming it's a good beer. I actually believe this is a good beer because it was very expensive. Let's pop it open and start partaking in said beverage. It's 10%. It's going to knock me on my ass tonight, but it's been a long week, long, stressful week, and I feel like I earned it. All right, so here's kind of what's going on in the Ginger Runner world. So the last week has been nuts. You just saw the trailer for the Squamish 50/50 film, which will be coming out tomorrow. I am still working on it. The schedule has just been wackadoo this last week. And here's why. I launched a new website. So I had to create the new website, but I launched the new website last week. I was very excited to launch it. A part of launching the new website comes the new store. And I was so excited to offer the buffs for pre-order, the Ginger Runner buffs for pre-order. I was trying to figure out for weeks how to do it. After the last sale, all the buffs sold out in 4 minutes, less than 4 minutes. So I had to figure out a way to do the pre-sale option. The only way that I could really foresee doing that was to have it incorporated into my website, be totally in control of it on my end. Luckily, I figured out how to do it, but it involved redesigning the website entirely. So I did it, launched the website. The store was up, working fine for the first, 10 seconds before the website just continued to crash. So when I call my service provider, I was like, you guys, I've warned you about this. Like, this day was going to be a huge day for Ginger Runner pre-sales. And it's not a lot of traffic compared to other big websites. So why is my site crashing? And people are talking about the V-neck in the chat room. Yep, deep V. So you know it's going to be good. When I was talking to the people online, they're like, oh, well, you need to upgrade to a VPS, which is essentially a private server that I have control over. And it allows more traffic to come through. Basically, long story short, I had to upgrade. I had no choice but to upgrade. Otherwise, this would have happened every single day, every single hour. I never would have been able to get all the pre-sales. So I'm like, okay, how long does this take? They're like, well, the normal process should be anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. I was like, oh, okay, I can deal with it being down for 2. Oh, wait, what am I? Hold on. That's very... It's really good, and it's also really, really sweet. There's a lot of malt action in there. So this is going to be an interesting show. So anyways, I had to upgrade, and I figured it would take 2 to 4 hours. So it costs more money too. So of course I had to like pay to have it done. But I'm fairly knowledgeable in computers. So I was like, oh, well, I could probably do the transfer of the website and I'll let them handle all the back end. So I did that. I sat there and waited and waited and waited for them to handle the back end. And finally, after maybe 10 hours, I contacted them again, contacted customer support. And they're like, oh, well, it usually takes 12 to 24 hours for them to do it. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Jump ahead 24 hours. It still hadn't been done. Customer service. Oh, it usually takes 24 to 48 hours. You've got to be kidding me. So then by Saturday night at like 1 a.m., I finally get an email from someone saying, we just started to work on your site and it's pretty easy and it's done. So that literally took them no time to do it. But now I'm running into a bunch of issues with emails. However, the orders are going through and I'm extremely pleased with that. In total, now, I'm also totally blown away by the pre-sales, guys. I obviously ordered far too few in the first round. We have over 500 pre-sales, which is incredible, which I'm absolutely excited about. I will be able to basically put the order in the next 2 days. The pre-sales are up right now, so you can go order still for the next, I would say, 24 hours or so. But then I'm going to have to cut it off. And I'll put announcements and stuff out there when I'm going to start to cut it off, just so people can get in there and get those buffs last minute. But those of you who have already ordered, everything is good as long as you got an email from PayPal. PayPal should send you the email saying, hey, your payment has gone through. So just make sure you got an email from PayPal at some point during the process and check your PayPal account and make sure that the money's been transferred. I'm going to be doing that over the next couple days, probably not tomorrow because tomorrow's film day. But starting Wednesday, I'm going to go through and just make sure everyone is all good, straight, squared away, and we'll get the order in and you guys will get your buffs. And I'm thinking like 4 weeks. I believe manufacturing takes about 4 weeks. And then I'm going to assume another 5 to 7 days for me to ship everything. These are hundreds of buffs I'm going to be shipping around the world. So that week is going to be stressful, but I'm super excited. Okay, so that's that. The other thing I wanted to talk about was why I'm doing Ginger Runner. The last week has really kind of put me to the test because not only did I pop up a new website, which just took time, but the new store, the pre-sales, your guys' support through that whole process. I got a number of emails from people saying that they were having issues and all that kind of stuff. But whenever I'd email back, they'd be super receptive and totally understanding. And that to me is like testament to the fan base and for you guys. It's incredible. So a large portion of why I do this is for that, because you guys aren't like regular customers, I guess. You guys are like friends, and we're kind of creating this really cool community, this family, and I'm loving it. And that's why this last week, you can ask any of my roommates, I have locked myself in my room, edited 2 reviews last week, the Nike Wild Horse 2 and the Kiger 2, new website, the store, basically this film that's dropping tomorrow. It's been nonstop. I have eaten like shit. I have barely taken care of myself. I managed to get outside and do some runs. That's about it. But it's all because I love it, and this is what I want my job to be. Speaking of roommate, here's my roommate. Here's my roommate Blake. Just walked in the room.
It's true. He's been doing nothing but this stuff.
That's like literally locked myself in my room. And Blake has helped me. My new single that is in the film tomorrow. Oh my God, I've done so much this week. The new single that drops tomorrow on iTunes and across online, and the dog is out, and across online, was remastered, just like all the volumes and stuff were remastered by the professional musician in the house, Mr. Blake Lewis. So thank you, buddy. Appreciate that.
I love you.
So tomorrow, hopefully it's on iTunes. I'm crossing my fingers that they upload it all appropriately as they have in the past. You guys can order that along with watching the film, which I'm super stoked on. The film's going to be long. I'm just warning you guys. It's at least 20 minutes. It's probably the longest thing I've put out there, and definitely the most ambitious project I've ever taken on. Very excited to share it. And I have a clip that I'm going to share you. I'm going to share with you later in the show. I want to check in the chat room. Okay, Ethan, if the buffs are such a success, why limit it? Can it be regular things? Says Chris Ham. The reason is because as the brand grows, as Facebook grows and Twitter grows and all that good stuff, I want to reward those of you who've been around since the beginning, those of you who are following me now and are big fans now and watch the content now, you guys get the buffs. Months from now, I don't want to continue to make the same product. I want to be able to adapt and create something new, create something cool. That's kind of my strategy. So these buffs that you're getting now are completely limited edition. I reopened the store up so we could make more of them because 80 wasn't enough. I realized that after 4 minutes, that 80 wasn't enough. So we had to open the doors, and I want to make sure everyone this round could get one. The next product could be something new and something different. Could be a hat, could be a shirt, could be something custom. I don't know. But when I create it, I want to make sure that it's the best. And I think this buff is the best. So you guys get the privilege of getting one before anyone else. And everyone else is going to be jealous. So you'll wear them to races and everyone's going to be freaking out like, you got one. Ah, damn it. So that's why, Chris. Nice choice, says Eric. 100 miler in 2015, asks Adam Irvin. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Basically, I wanted to do one this year. I wanted to make sure that I had enough training in my legs and was looking at hopefully qualifying for Western States this year. It didn't happen. The Cuyamaca 100K was the race I did last year, which was not a Western States qualifier, is this year, and is actually this upcoming weekend. I registered the day after registration opened, and it was already sold out. So I was on the wait list. I was deep on the wait list. And then 2 weeks ago, my name was like top 5 for the wait list. So I was definitely going to get into the race, but I already have races now scheduled for the next 3 months, big races. And there's no way that I wanted to sacrifice those races for one race this weekend that could leave me unable to race the next 3. So I'm cool. I've come to grips with the fact that Western States qualifier can wait till next year. I'm cool with that. My body needs the break, but I'm building back up now. So needed the break right after Squamish. Sam Gross says, race train beer nipple covers. Kind of brilliant. I think it would have to be train race beer because that's kind of the order. But you love a good nipple cover. And yesterday on my training run, I had some pretty good nipple chafe. I should make some of those. What about a new truck hat? A lot of runners use them. Yeah, the trucker hat's definitely a popular thing. I'm wearing a Run Steep, Get High trucker hat right now, courtesy of Aravipa Running and Jameel Curry, who was on our show last week. I've thought about it. There's a certain style that I would want to do, and they're harder to manufacture, and I have not found the manufacturer that makes them. I don't necessarily want to do the foam dome ones because they're just big hats. I want to find one a little bit more streamlined. I'm a big fan of the Patagonia trucker hats, and I want to find out another manufacturer that can make ones like that. So not the foam back here, but like the fabric. So that's definitely an option, and I'm very excited about that. I'm getting tons of text messages. I got to turn my phone off. I'm so sorry, guys. Probably vibrates the microphone. Limited edition deep V's. Okay, that's exactly what it is. Nothing like a deep V to make you feel uncomfortable with your body. Okay. So updated about the website, why I do this, especially this last week where it's been nonstop. So I did an interview with Runner's World Running Times last week. A very short interview over the phone. And I will share it with you guys once it comes out. I think it's coming out this week. The guy that interviewed me, super nice dude. One of the questions he asked was, how much time do you put into this? Like, is this a full-time job? And I remember last year, you can go back and watch the video. It's my New Year's resolutions video. One of my resolutions was to make Ginger Runner my full-time job, like to do this full-time. When I put that video out, in my mind, I was just thinking, now's the time. Now's the time to make it the full-time job. So just do it. So this year I have, and it's grown exponentially. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know that my views, I accumulated 1 million views a couple of months ago. I think it was June. I'm almost at 2 million. So over the course of the whole Ginger Runner lifespan, it took years to build up to 1 million views. It took months to get to 2 million views. So that's just a sign of exponential growth on YouTube, which I'm very excited about. I think that's great as a platform for people to view the content. I think it's fantastic. As far as a job, it is now no longer a 40-hour per week job. It is close to an 80 to 100-hour per week job based off of this last week. It was nonstop. I really need to get outside and get some fresh air, to be honest. I haven't showered today is a good example. But luckily, I've been limiting myself to one of these a week, which is here with you. Yes, Albert, 500 plus, which was the top number in what I assumed buff pre-sales would be at. I'm like, ideally, like 100 would be my guess, with like 100 pre-sales. 250 would be a dream. 500 would be, that's not even possible. And it did. It totally happened. So I'm very excited. And it's open for another 24 hours, and it was closed for 3 days. So who knows what could happen in the next 24 hours, which I'm very excited about. Let's move on. What hat do you race in? The pink and yellow one, Adam. That is another example of what we were talking about just a couple minutes ago. That was a limited edition capsack that I had made for a very small amount of customers, people who watch the video. So there's only a handful of people out there. I believe 125 people own one of those capsacks, whether it's black, white, the multicolored, or the teal. I don't think I'll be making another round of those. That's the example, is the first people to kind of follow the Ginger Runner and kind of came on early on had the opportunity to grab those. The buffs are now for you guys. Who knows what's next? Who knows? People are saying Kara Goucher, super hot. Well, I guess Albert is. We're already talking about that stuff, huh? Normal Life, at Ethan, shout out to one of those 80 who received a buff from your first batch. Yep. 614 Trail Runner. That's right. I actually remember her. And she won a buff as well for answering a trivia question, I believe 2 weeks ago. She went out and won her first 100-mile race this weekend sporting the buff. Are you kidding me? That's incredible. That is awesome. I don't know if she's watching the show tonight, but she watches the show fairly frequently. I've seen her name in the chat room a number of times, but 614 Trail Runner, that is incredible. I would like to think the reason you won was because of the buff. So you're welcome for the victory. Yeah, it's all my fault that you won. That is pretty incredible. And the first 80 people to get those buffs, I've already seen pictures of people running into them in races and pictures from afar and people sporting them on hikes and runs and stuff. It's pretty awesome. Can't wait for all of you to get yours in November, early November, because the pictures are going to be incredible. I know you guys are going to do some really, really crazy stuff. Update on the podcast. These episodes are podcast versions as well, but with the website, the new website, and then the server transfer, everything got screwed up. So if you go to iTunes now and try to find the podcast, I think there's 3 episodes, and they're the pilot, episode 1 and episode 2. Not really worth listening to because it's still very new and there's technical issues and stuff like that on my end during the live shows. I promise you, once this week is done, that is going to be my priority, is getting the podcast back up. So just relax. I promise you it'll get dealt with. It just, in the hierarchy of things that need to get done, in the triage order, the podcast is like middle to bottom because customers are first. The film tomorrow is second. The films from last week and all, you know the order. And finally, before we move on to today's full topic, the New York Marathon. I will be running the New York Marathon, and I'm raising money for UNICEF. And I'm running the marathon with a crew of really, really funny, great YouTubers and friends, Shay, Carl, and company. Here's my other roommate. He looks dapper, and I was going to high five him. This is my buddy Elliot. You want to say hi? No?
Me?
Yeah. This is Elliot.
Oh, wait,
He's doing his hair. He has to make sure that he looks real good. This is Elliot's house.
hey, y'all.
He constantly walks by because I'm literally outside of his room. You guys don't really know where I am in the whole scheme of things. You're like, oh, look at that wall, that set. So thank you for letting me set up right outside your room.
My room doubles as the
Ginger Runner Live podcast.
Ginger Runner, exactly. Yeah.
Sweet dude, obviously getting dressed up to go out tonight. Have fun.
Sam Smith.
That's okay. Oh, really? Well done. I'll be sitting here drinking 10%.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so basically with all that news and all the updates from the Ginger Runner front, I want to end that section with a big thank you. A big thank you to each and every single one of you from the bottom of my heart for being so supportive and just being awesome, being totally awesome, and helping me kind of make this dream a reality. Because you have goals, you have dreams. You're like, I would love to make this an actual job, I don't want to say career, but because it's too fun to be a career, right? but to be able to do it and to make it a full-time thing and have the support of a community like you it's incredible. There is no one else out there that's doing anything remotely like this. And so I'm kind of trying to be a pioneer and pave new ground. And I'm telling you right now, it is the most fun I've ever had. It's really cool. And I honestly, the hours and hours I put into it are the best hours. Like I would rather be doing nothing else except running. I'd rather be out there running. But the good thing is that I get to share a part of that with you, especially tomorrow. This film, I'm so excited about it. It's just driving me crazy though, because I've had to put it on the back burner. But tomorrow's the day. My goal is to get it done, even if I have to pull an all-nighter. But the quality will be there, so don't you worry about that. Okay. I think it's time to move on. I don't want to get too emotional. I'm not even that deep into the beer. Let's talk about running news. Too much happened in the last few weeks for me to completely bypass all of it. I wanted to bring on a guest tonight. I have guests for future episodes, but tonight I was like, well, you know what? We have too much going on in the news, especially with our sport, to just ignore it. So first of all, let's talk about the new marathon world record. I'm of the mindset that the world record can go below 2 hours. However, it's going to be a while. But right now we're at 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 57 seconds. Really? Absolutely blows my mind. Dennis Kimetto did something that most people can't even dream of, like a handful. I can count on my hands the humans on this planet that could even remotely go that fast. And there's only been one human to actually go that fast. But I'm thinking in the next 2 or 3 years, we could break the record again. And I definitely think we could go sub 2. So my question to you guys is, do you think we can go sub 2 in the marathon? I say we, like it's us, like it's going to be us. It's the human race that will, but it's not going to be me. I could maybe do a half marathon under 2. I have, and some people were in the chat room going, I can't even run a half marathon that fast. And I'm like, trust me, that's mind blowing. So we're at 2:02:57, which is fucking nuts. When do you think the next record is going to be broken? It's going to be broken again. There's too much press around it and too much mystique. People really want to get there. Will we go sub 2? And when will that happen? Will it be soon? Will it, that kind of stuff. Eric in the chat room says that he's only been training for 4 years, which is incredible. Yeah, he's a young lad. So if he's that young and he's already pulling off those kind of times, where is he going to be 2 or 3 years from now? The younger kids who are striving to be at his level now, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, they're going to be at his age. Are they going to be going sub 2? I'm really curious. The pace is unbelievable, says Christopher. I think it's a 4:41. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm lucky to, 4:41 per mile. I'm lucky to even go sub 6 ever, like ever. I think my fastest mile in the last couple of years, it was like 6:05 or something. And I have friends that can pull that off for an ultra. It's like, come on. What are you? They're 110 pounds. That's what they are. So that's probably my biggest fault, is that I weigh a lot more than that in this. Hexagon to gano. I'm not even going to try. I'd be happy just to run 2 miles in 8 minutes. I agree. Totally agree. Felix predicts it will happen, but not for another 5 to 6 years. That's kind of what I'm assuming too. Every year it's gone about 30 seconds faster. So if we still need to go, 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 58 seconds faster, then it could take 4, 5, 6 years. It's kind of that's just based off of that rough math. Maybe we can make a big jump. Maybe there will be a big leap. Some kid that just didn't know he can run fast all of a sudden learns and then does it. Who knows? We don't know. But I do predict it will go sub 2. I've talked to people who are like, never, man, I'll never go sub 2. I'm like, dude, you're an idiot. It's going to go sub 2. Matt Minty, I think it's crazy how Kenya and Ethiopia have so much depth. So there will be sure to be a sub 2 marathon in the next 10 years. Yeah. So if you open it up to 10 years, I agree. Most likely people will be riding robots by the end of that 10 years. When do you think the women's world record will be broken? Actually, that's a great segue. So talking about the Berlin Marathon and Dennis's amazing time, Shalane Flanagan, she basically went into this marathon wanting to break the American marathon record, which I believe was set by Dina Castor, 2:19:36. So the American female marathon record is 2:19:36. Sheena wanted to go in there and beat it. So she went all out. She did not beat it. However, she got a new personal best. She killed it. She did an incredible time of 2:21:46, which is the fastest marathon that she's ever run. Here's what gets me, though. I was reading articles for the last couple of days about Shalane. Did I say Sheena earlier? I meant Shalane. About her failing by not breaking the American record. She failed. And in my mind, I'm going, what a terrible way to look at it. Yes, she put out there that she wanted to break the world record. But at the same point, she got a personal best in a marathon. She like killed her old record. So how is that not an amazing accomplishment and just a sign of things to come? Whatever she was doing was working. So whatever she was doing in her training worked. It didn't get her the world record or the American record time, but it got her personal best. So if she continues to do that, can she personal best her personal best? Absolutely. She could eventually break the American marathon record. So I don't look at it as a negative. I'm looking at it as like holy shit, this is incredible. Will the female world record break soon? Again, I say yes. I absolutely think it will. There's just too much. There's too much prestige about it, right? There's too many people want to break that record and get the notoriety and get their name up on the lights. So it will happen. Absolutely will happen. I don't know how long it'll last, because more people want to come along and break the record. Eaters fan says, next round, do visors instead of buffs. You could have added an option to donate to your New York adventure when purchasing a buff. I did. It was on my website. And I can't do it like that because the donations have to go through another site called CharityWise, which CrowdWise, because that's how UNICEF counts them up. I have to raise $3,500 by October 20th. I appreciate the input, though. And visors, not very popular. I don't know many people that wear visors. It's really big in the triathlon crowd. That's because most of the guys have shaved heads, and so they like the visor. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the visor. I want to make stuff that I want to wear. That's kind of my thing. But since Sam says visors would rock, I might do visors maybe in a store, like a third-party store where I'm not in charge of making them. So like a third-party manufacturer makes the visors and just adds like a train race beer on it or something like that. Maybe it's just not something that's up in my grill. And let's not forget about Dina Castor with the. Did I miss something that happened with? Oh yeah, the incredible Masters record. I tweeted about her. Just blows my mind. Blows my mind. She was able to do that. How old is she? 42? I forget. Someone's going to correct me in the chat. I'm going to look like an idiot. Albert P. Wu, Boston Marathon, in the second registration period, 6,447 applications with qualifying times at least 1 minute and 2 seconds faster than the standard were accepted. Matinb21 says, hey, any tips for a 5K that has a very hilly first 2 miles and a huge hill at the... What? Is this... do you want a very hilly for the first 2 miles and a huge hill at 1.5 mile mark? Are you looking for a specific 5K that's very hilly with a hill at 1.5 miles? That sounds very specific. Very specific. Oh, Sam says, I am a triathlete, though. Yeah, all my triathlete friends, they love the visors. When I was cycling and doing cycling and running, doing like duathlon stuff, I didn't run a duathlon. I really wanted to. I should. I was doing visors as well. I have a couple visors. I even have a whole Strava kit, like socks and hat and visor and stuff. I actually want to give that away. I don't think I'll do it today because there's just too much on my plate. But maybe next week I'll give away the Strava kit. It doesn't have a shirt or shorts or anything. I mean like hats and socks and swag. essentially. She's 41. Okay, Chris. Yes, good. I thought she was 42, but 41. That's correct. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Dina Castor continues to blow minds. And that's what I want to. I want to be that. I want to continue to get better with age and continue to be able to run and have fun doing it and set goals and accomplish them. That is my goal with running. Yes, I would like to be faster. We all would. But there comes a point when it's like, yeah, speed is definitely a byproduct that everyone wants to have. But at the same point, I really want to have fun. And watching my Squamish 50/50 movie back as I'm editing it and watching it back, it's like, man, I was having fun. And all the runners around me and runners I would talk to, they were having fun. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm running the New York Marathon on November 2nd. It's a bucket list marathon. So I got the opportunity to run with some friends, and I don't want to miss it because it's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. Sister used to live in Brooklyn, used to go to New York a couple times a year, and just love the city. So can't wait to go back there. Tony says, I have watched your first marathon tips 100 times. Is there anything you would add now? I need tips you can give me, freaking out a little bit. Tony, I was actually talking to my friend who's running his first marathon at the Chicago Marathon coming up just recently. And I was like, hey, watch this video, which is the 5 tips for first-time marathoners. And I was thinking, what other new tips? And honestly, there's not much else new. If it depends on how your training goes. So anytime anyone's like, hey, I'm running my first marathon, my first question is always, how's your training going? Did you do any speed work? Do you have a goal in mind? Are you going for a certain time? Because it'll vary from person to person. Most people are like, no, I just want to finish. My only expectation is to finish. So for those people, I like to tell them, start slow, go slower. You don't want to start out too fast. I promise you, you're going to feel great come race day, and you're going to go out too fast. I've had multiple early marathon experiences. Like my first 4 marathons I ever ran were that. Even though my mind was going, oh, well, I'm running slower. I'm taking care of myself. By the half marathon point, you're fried. So really take your time. Stick to your training pace. If you have to look at your watch every 30 seconds, do it. Just stick to your training pace. You're going to feel so good. You're going to be like, oh, well, maybe I should push a little faster. Don't do it. Save it. I promise you, you're going to need that strength later. And you're going to be so glad that you saved it. Just a little bit in that tank for the last 6 miles alone is going to do wonders. You can go fast in the first 13 and all of a sudden be up like 4 minutes on your time, but then you can lose 12, 15 minutes in the last 6 miles, where if you save a little bit for the last 6, you can make up that 4 minutes. So that's definitely something I like to tell people. And another way to help with that, and this is what I told my friend, walk through the water stations. So water stations are fairly frequent. Depends on if you run with a water bottle or if you're actually going to drink the water off the aid station tables or any of the electrolyte drink, depending if your stomach is used to that. Take your time, walk through. And when you do, thank the volunteers. And if you pass a cop that's holding traffic up on a road or something like that, thank them. Thank as many people who are out there helping the race as possible. It serves 2 reasons or 2 purposes. One, they are out there longer than you. They deserve the thank you. Most of them are doing it for free, like the volunteers and stuff like that. So it serves a nice purpose to send out that positivity, right? 2, it distracts you from your own pain. I promise you. If you start saying thank you and putting out like good energy, as hippie as that sounds, it'll kind of turn your downs into ups. It has helped me in numerous occasions where like I've bonked at mile 20 and I'm like, you're in this terrible place. You feel nauseous. You feel lightheaded. And you just start saying thank you. And all of a sudden, everything is replaced with smiles. You're smiling and you're like, you know what? It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And you can keep pushing. So that's definitely something I'd add. Tony Ochoa, training was okay. Sub 4 hours, my goal. Okay, that's pretty good. You can still do sub hour by walking through water stations. Maybe not every single one. Sub 4 is totally doable for people. That's where I'm at. I'm at like the 340 to the 350 marathon pace is like a good pace for me. Just like a good standard training pace. I've learned that the last 3 marathons that were, I don't want to say easier because marathons are not easy. Never are. But it was nice to be able to run a marathon and go, oh, like the San Francisco Marathon, I got a 3:44 and I didn't really push really hard. So that felt really good. So it depends on if you're kind of going at it as like, I just want to finish, just kind of want to run at a training pace, or if you really want to go for it and you're trying to qualify for Boston or you're pushing your PR, you're, doing that kind of thing. those usually aren't first-time marathoners. Baker McCool, I own both the AK and SJ vest from Ultimate Direction. They are super legit. I'm guessing this is in response to a question earlier from Spirits and Nature. Is the Scott Jurek Ultra Vest 2.0 worth getting my dad for his birthday? I've only used it once. And so far, I like it better than the AK vest, which I reviewed. I still have my quirks with it, but I'm still putting it through the review process. So I'm not going to hold any. I'm not going to talk about it until I actually get it through the gambit. Yes, thank the volunteers, says Sam. Absolutely. Ben Fox says, Tony, I ran my first marathon at 50K this year. What I learned is to start slow and easy. And if you think you're going slower, I bonked bad at mile 20 in my marathon, felt really good and started fast. Yeah, and I will say, usually in first-time races like that, and even ultras, when you start to feel bad, it's almost instant. And that's what sucks, is you just don't know when it's going to happen until it's too late. So I encourage you not to do everything you can to avoid that, to not let that happen, just so you can stay strong and finish strong and not feel like you're going to die when you cross that finish line, which is the worst. Jordan says, running my first half marathon on Saturday, hoping to go around 2 hours and 15 minutes. I'm going to have fun regardless. Great. That is a great mentality. And that is how everyone should run their first race. Just have a blast. The crew that I'm running the New York Marathon with, Shay, Carl, and a bunch of his YouTuber friends and stuff like that, their training is just a little bit behind, and we've been texting back and forth, and it's awesome because they're so amped to get their training back into gear, and they're going to run the race, and they're doing it just to have fun, and that is exactly what people should do. Should run races if it's your first time, or if it's your 30th or 100th time. Run it for fun, unless you are going for some sort of personal best or qualifier, something like that, in which case stay focused and get it done. Ginger, I've been running 25K trail races, but want to amp up my mileage for future 50K trail race. I usually don't enjoy road running as much, but do you recommend a road marathon to increase mileage? Guys, this has been brought up on the show a number of times. I don't necessarily think that's, I mean, if you're already running 25K races on trails, there's no reason to jump onto the roads to try to get in longer mileage or anything like that. There are trail marathons as well. So if you're looking to run a marathon before you run an ultra, you can run a trail marathon. That's not an issue. But normally what I recommend is a standard progression of mileage, duration, speed. Stick with a typical training plan. Just apply it to trails. Pick a race and look at the race, whether it's the elevation profile or, the terrain, and train for that. Ultras, you have to be very specific with your training because every single ultra is different. If you ask me, hey, what was your fastest 50K time? I'd be like, well, in rain, it was this. In mountains, it was this. In mud, it was, there's no two 50Ks that are alike. Even the same course 2 years in a row, not the same. Cuyamaca, if I were to run Cuyamaca again this year, the course is going to be different. The heat's going to be different. The atmosphere is going to be different. The people in the race are going to be different. The course probably has changed in the last year as far as the terrain, whether it's been more buffed out or more technical. You just don't know. So your times are always going to be different. So it's really tough to gauge that. But training-wise, you want to train specifically for that race. So look at all the details you can about the race, and then you can adapt your training schedule to that. Running my first Ultra 55K in December and bought the buff. Are your first ultra tips any different from the first marathon tips? Not. I'll think about this during tonight's show, but not off the top of my head. I'm trying to think. The first ultra, that by far is you want to have fun, because an ultra can be a miserable experience for a long duration of time. And the problem is that with a marathon, you're so tempted to just quit. You feel bad. You're like, ugh. You're surrounded by people on the side of the road, or you can grab a taxi super easy. So the ability to just quit is there. In a trail race, it's much more difficult mentally to quit because you're in the middle of nowhere, right? Between aid stations, it could be 5 or 6 to 12 miles. So you can't just quit. You actually have to make it to the next destination and then quit. But more often than not, you'll get to that next destination, you'll chill, you'll wait, you'll start to feel better, and then you'll continue on. So the goal is to try to avoid those down, in my opinion, is to try and avoid those the bonks as much as possible. And that'll come with your training and figuring out what your body needs and what your body can do without, and just avoiding the bonks at all at all costs, and to enjoy your full experience. My first 50K was so hard, and I psyched myself out so much leading up to it. But when you're in the race, you'll just be so focused and so dialed and just have a blast. Make sure that you're having a blast and look around and enjoy the scenery. That's the best part about ultras, is that you're running in terrain and locations that are rarely accessible. I mean, you're not going to run. It's rare that you'll run 15 miles out into the mountains just to get to that viewpoint, right? So if you're at that spot 15 miles into a race, kind of take it in and go, this is tough to get to. This spot is hard to get to. Take it in, absorb it. It works. Easter's fan, GR, sell small, lightweight blinking lights that clip onto your shorts or an armband next. I buy new ones each year because I'm too lazy to buy new batteries, and it's about time to get a new one. That's not really my market share. I'm not quite. I don't have a degree in electricity. That was a weird sentence. I don't. There are companies out there that will do a much better job than a ginger runner light. The ginger runner light would literally just be bright orange or pale skin. I mean, my light is essentially taking my shirt off, and it illuminates the whole trail. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But I do think safety is an utmost concern for people running at night, and I think lights are a good call. Lori Hall's in the chat room. What's up, Lori? Can't wait. Mountains. I have a big race Saturday. 5K is doing 20 by 200, then an all-out mile too much, or should if I have a big race Saturday, it's a 5K, so meaning you really want to go fast, is doing 20 by 200, then an all-out mile too much, or should I go easy? Are you talking about the race itself or training? I feel like my legs start to get really sore after about 2 hours and 30 minutes of running. Is that something that will go away? I mean, they tighten up, burn up, and then my knees start to feel like they will break. That I do get like that too. But after like as the times increase with training, so do the pain thresholds. There is a point when everyone just starts to break down. Everybody, elites as well. But that'll change. That's different for every person. That'll change based off of your training. So it also depends on the week. Like yesterday, I went out on it wasn't a hard, it was a really easy effort. But the day before, I just had put a lot of miles and a lot of vert and stuff like that. So yesterday was just more painful. That's just kind of how it goes. I need to move on, guys. Okay, so we talked about the world record. We talked about Shalane Flanagan, just incredible. Oh yeah, so this happened this week too. My mom sent me this link. She's like, "How incredible is this?" That's not how my mom sounds. That's not even how I make my mom sound. It's just a voice. Okay. My mom's not watching. She might be. Amy Hughes in Shropshire, England. That's terrible. She ran 55 marathons in 55 days, which apparently is a new world record as well for sequential marathons run. So when I read this article, I was like, oh, wow, 55 marathons in a row, 55 days. That's a marathon a day. 55? I feel like it's more than that. I think Dean Karnassus ran 50 and 50, and he ran one in each state, so it's 50, 50, and 50. There are other people who have run 53. I think the previous world record was 53 marathons in 53 days, but 55 and 55. In my mind, I was going, didn't a guy just do the PCT in 50? I guess he was in 53 days or something like that. But he did 50 miles a day. The dude that broke the FKT on the Pacific Crest Trail did it in 53 days, 50 miles per day, something like that, whatever the math is per day. But in my mind, I'm going, that number, the woman who broke the world record for both men and women, that number seems wrong. Doesn't it? I feel like there's people who have run more marathons than that. Or the guys that ran across Canada. A guy just did it. He dressed up as the Flash and ran with the cart, and he ran every single day. And he put in at least a marathon every single day. And I'm like, didn't he technically do it then? Or does it have to be a sanctioned marathon? I'm confused. Maybe one of you guys can enlighten me if you've heard of this. This is, okay, so I'm going to show a video. This happened, I just saw Runner's World post this. And in my mind, I thought it was kind of funny. So a marathon took place in Indiana. What was it called? Mill Race Marathon in Indiana. A part of the race goes over railroad tracks. Apparently, the race either didn't communicate with the railroad or the railroad just didn't give a fuck and decided to put the train through the race anyways. And this is essentially what happened. I apologize if it gets really loud. The video is like super loud, so just keep that in mind. Here we go.
Somebody's getting fired.
Stop it!
No, come on, no!
So that's crazy to me. One, that someone still films vertically. Come on, stop filming vertically. But two, the runners were so preoccupied with their own marathon time that their safety went out the window. They just decided to run around the front of the train or run underneath it. There were people rolling underneath a moving train to get to the other side so they can continue to run the marathon. I'm sorry. What the fuck are you thinking? No marathon time is worth putting your life at risk. If anything, take the break. Take the breather. I get it. Trains are long. When you get to that point in a marathon, what if that's mile 20 and you're like, you just want to be done? And a train comes along and it's super long. I get it. You're going to be so frustrated. Get over it. Something didn't happen within the race, right? Like communication between the race directors and the train depot or whatever, that communication did not happen. And unfortunately, it's causing your race to lose time. Not a big deal. Stop your watch or keep your watch going. Just look at the time and keep track of that time so you know mentally it's been 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So just deduct that from your time. Like there is no point that is worth risking your life to try to get a better marathon time. It's just not worth it. I've heard that the Portland Marathon, which I've run multiple times, it was my first marathon back in 2002, that course goes over train tracks. And a part of that course, the race directors let the train depot know, hey, listen, the runners are going to be crossing over this part of the train tracks. What they've instigated now is a timing mat before and after the train tracks. If the train comes through, they activate the timing mat. So you cross over it. It stops your time until you cross over the mat on the other side, which starts your time. So you lose no time. You just have to be patient for the train to cross. Sounds like a perfectly logical, technical advancement in marathon timing. I think that's smart. William Chinda, I've heard in some races they deduct your wait time from your chip time. Yes, exactly. In this case, it was every man for him or herself, which is just that's crazy to me. I'm sorry, it's not worth it, guys. It's not worth it unless you're Dennis Kimetto and you are on world record pace 202.57. In which case, just run around the train or jump over it. I don't care. Get through it because you're gonna win. But if you're like mid-pack or whatever, it's like stop and take the breather. That's like a bonus. To be able to take a breather in the middle of a marathon, just like kind of regroup. Come on. Yeah, Lori Hall says, take the break, and now you have a great story. Zach Lux, maybe don't try to PR at a marathon that crosses a railroad. Brilliant. Worth it if the chance of you hitting a railroad is at all likely. That's pretty smart. Okay. This also happened last week. Lake Tahoe Ironman got canceled minutes before the race. So thousands of people show up for the Lake Tahoe Ironman, trained, ready to go. This is a big Ironman. It's legendary and it's beautiful. They show up, they get to the start line, they're donning their suits, they're ready to jump into the water. and the race is canceled. Weather is fine. The weather actually looks pretty good. It's the fact that there are wildfires nearby that has made the air quality terrible. Now, at the swim start, based off of pictures that I saw and firsthand experience or firsthand accounts, people said that the air quality at the start line in the swim was actually decent. In fact, some people, after the race was canceled, decided to go for the swim anyways. But some of the pictures and stories from the bike course told a different story. There were some mountain roads that you end up riding that looked like you were riding into clouds. You know how you've seen those shots where the road just kind of disappears into a mist, into a fog, and the trees on either side? It was like that, but riding into smoke. I'm sorry, but again, your life isn't worth risking for a race. However, I mean, my heart goes out to the guys and gals that were at the start line waiting to race an Ironman, which, you know, that takes so much time. It's a full-time job to train for an Ironman because you have to do so much work in all the mediums. That had to have been frustrating, like really frustrating and heartbreaking. I believe that Ironman will do some sort of race transfer, so they'll be able to run another Ironman in another location at another date of their choosing, or maybe it's one specific date. I'm not positive on that, which is good, and I think that's handled smartly. But the problem is that so many of these athletes, and I know Ironman athletes, and they are so nitpicky with their training, like to a T. You fuck with their peak of training, you're not going to hear the end of it. And unfortunately, I'm imagining hundreds of those racers were peaking for Tahoe. So any other race in the future is like, oh, well, fuck that. I'm already peaked. I can't get any faster. I can't get any better. Now I have to re-peak. You can't do that. So I hope that that's not the case. I hope that most people were looking at it like, I understand my health is at risk. This is smart not to run this race. I can't wait to do it again and hopefully re-peak. We'll see, I guess. Esther's fan says, GR, are you going to do or be at the Who's El Moro race October 12th? Maybe. I might go down there to watch the race. I will not be running the race because I'm running an ultra the next weekend. But I mean, they put on such a great race as it is. If you're gonna be there, you're gonna have a fucking great time. I can't recommend those races enough, especially for first-time ultras. Like if you're looking to do a 50K, the Who's in El Moro races, there's 2 of them a year, are great. Totally great. What about the Ironman that was booby-trapped? Tracks and oil, but on the bike route? Tony, I didn't hear about that. When did that happen? Was that this last weekend? Was that Chattanooga? So much pasta was wasted that day, says Chris. Yes, I feel bad for the pasta makers. You know, and there's volunteers, thousands of volunteers that are putting aside time to be out there and helping an Ironman. It takes so many people to put on an event like that. It's tough. Like organization, it fucking sucks. Yeah, feel real bad for the Tahoe people too, Raul. Normal Life says, have you ever had a chance to meet Rob Krar at an event? He's been killing it this year. Western States 100, Leadville 100, Run Rabbit Run 100 wins back to back to back. Oh, yes. I have met him twice. Really nice dude. Really soft-spoken dude. Have emailed with him a couple times. Hopefully we'll get him on a Ginger Runner Live in the next couple of weeks. Actually, I totally forgot about that. I should probably email him in the next couple of days just to see if he's available for dates. Now that I believe his race season is on a bit of a dip before he comes back for North Face 50 miler, which I believe he will be running and won last year. So yes, Rob Krar for sure. And I want to move on to Anna Frosty. Those of you who might be familiar with the Solomon Ultra Trail running team, Killian Jornet, Ricky Gates, Gary Robbins, and some incredible freaking athletes. These are some of the best trail runners in the world. Emily Forsberg. I mean, I'm obviously forgetting so many people. One of them, Anna Frosty, she hadn't run 100 before, so she signs up for the Bear 100, which was this last weekend. The Bear 100 is a very difficult 100. I have not run it. I have not seen the course, but I just am familiar with the fact that it's very tough. And it was her first 100-mile race. She went into it not having run distances any longer than 50 miles. So 50 miles was her longest race before that. And she just kind of had really good spirits about her. Like, well, you know, I'll run the first 50 miles like I do any 50-mile race, and we'll just see what happens after that, which is incredible. She ended up winning the race and setting a course record by 16 minutes, I believe. It was what was the total time? I believe it was 21:57 or something like that. 21 hours and 57 minutes. Incredible to be able to do that on your debut 100-mile race. It's to not only win it for the women, but set a new course record. It's incredible. She's someone that I would want to get on the show too. She's had a pretty amazing career, being able to come back after not racing for a while and just make the splash that she's making now. I've met her at a race very, very briefly before, and great personality, really outgoing. So I think it would be great to get her on the show. Raul says, you would probably rock both El Moro and the Lumpia Burger. Our angle. What's a Lumpia Burger? I'm totally unfamiliar with that. Krar, the most interesting personality in ultra running. Have you ever hiked Mount Whitney? No, but I've been up in the Sierras a number of times, but no, Whitney's on that list. It's on the bucket list. It's not something I want to do alone. I want to enjoy it with someone else. I haven't even gone. The highest I've ever been is 10.8. I haven't been up above 11 or 12, and 14. It's just, a whole nother beast. Ethan, I suggest a beard growing contest between you and Rob Krar. Surprisingly, you should say that, because my doppelganger, Gary Robbins, has a beard that pretty much rivals Rob Krar's. Just look at any recent pictures of Gary Robbins and you'll see that it's essentially what I would look like with a big beard. I've gone big and bushy before, and man, I feel dirty. I actually recently just trimmed it, so now I have the scruff, and it's nice to be able to see my face in the mirror. So normally when I have the beard, it's like, ooh, I look dirty. I need a shower, but I do need a shower. That's just me being honest. John asks, did you decide to snag the GoPro Hero 4 Black? I did not, because I do not think that the feature set is worth it. In my case, the 3 Plus is just fine for my needs. I'm not going to be shooting in 4K anytime soon. I could shoot in 4K and then down compress to 1080, and the picture quality is fantastic. However, I shoot in 1080/60 as it is now, because I need the optional slow-mo shots. And unfortunately, 4K on the new GoPro does not have that. It only has 30p. But I do believe the 2.5K has 60p. I'll look into that. But I don't think it's a worthwhile upgrade for me. I just don't. Yeah. For $500, I don't have the money. I can't spend $500 on a camera that I kind of already have. I really wanted image stabilization, whether it's IS or OS, which is optical stabilization. I wanted one of those two things, and I did not get it, unfortunately. There's a couple other things in there that I wanted, like 720p, 240 frames per second. Not going to happen, not with that lens. I was in Bolivia recently at 14,000 feet, and it was hard just walking. I'm a Florida boy, though. I mean, from what I've heard from people who live at sea level, it's like 14,000 is just tough. Even people that live at 7,000 or 8,000 feet, 14,000 is tough. There's no getting around it unless you live at 14,000 feet, and that's rare. UROC was over 12,000, and that was hard. Yep. Any chance you'll run the Lake Sonoma 50K or 50 miler? It's on the list. It's on the list of runs that I want to do. The thing is I apparently have this knack for signing up for races that very fast people run. So one of these times I want to run a race where I can feel like I can do really well in, like place really well. But every race I run, I feel like I'm running against the world's best that just happen to be signed up for that race. And I end up totally back in the field, like mid-pack. Not that that's bad. I obviously have a good experience, but one of these times I want to be able to run an ultra that's like, all right, so Chris Fargo's not here. Rob Krar isn't here. Sally McRae isn't here. Like, there's no elite runners here. I'm going to go for it and then really go for it. Hopefully someday. Since you did long back-to-back days, think about organizing a backbone run that covers around 30 miles each day and have a bus to the start of each day or a weekend. I'd pay to do it. Yeah, Eaters fan. It's there's unsanctioned backbone runs. The backbone is a trail for those of you who don't live in California. The backbone is this awesome single track trail that starts in Santa Monica, California, just kind of in the heart of LA, Hollywood, runs up a mountain spine and like along the Santa Monica mountain range and drops you back down right along the ocean. Single track pretty much the entire way. It's about 68 miles, I believe, and it's tough. It's not easy. And the reason there's no race that exists on that is because I believe it runs through so many different parks and territories that the permitting is nearly impossible. It's nearly impossible because it runs through just so many different like neighborhoods and I think even private property at some points. I wish that my head is just going crazy here. I wish there was a backbone race. It would be incredible, but I don't think it would be cost effective at all. So there's been fat ass versions of it where people will just run the 68 miles. And I think the course record is, oh man, I don't even know. I don't even want to guess, but it's pretty fast. I just really want to do it. I want to do it. Okay, what was marathon? I got stopped. Lake Tahoe, Shalane Flanagan, Anna Frosty. So that's kind of it in running news. Maybe I missed something. If I missed something in the running news, tax and oil were found Sunday morning on a portion of the bike route at Ironman, according to Dan Berglund, public relations manager for Ironman. So I'm guessing that was Chattanooga because that was the Ironman that was this last weekend, unless it was a foreign Ironman sanctioned race that I just was not aware of. That's incredible. I mean, I've heard of people removing markers and stuff like that for ultra courses. What do they call it? Vandalizing, where people have vandalized ultramarathon courses, which is like, it boggles my mind because you're putting people's lives at risk. And this is the same. This is exactly the same. People throwing tax and oil on the ground. Some of those cyclists are going 25, 30 miles per hour or faster if it's a downhill. And they're in the prone position or they're in the tuck. So they can't get to the brakes or anything like that. So if they go off the bike, they're done. They're done. That's incredible. Jamil Curry, Coyote Backbone Trail Ultra. Is that new? Did Jimmy just make that happen? Or is that a fat ass version of the Backbone Trail race? Because from what I understand, the Backbone Trail race was not a sanctioned event. And at least the one that was last year did not happen this year, I believe. Now Eaters Fan is saying the same thing. Yeah, that's what Raul says. Aren't they canceling it? And that's what I believe is happening. From what I understand, that is no longer a race. There was a sanctioned race, but it felt very, I don't want to say shady. It was just much more under wraps. Okay. That happened in Steamboat to people sometimes. People suck sometimes. Yeah, I just don't get it. You know what? Speaking of people sucking. It needs to happen this week. It's a runner's rant. It's where I get to talk about something that happened to me or something that bugs me, whether it's on the trail, on the road, or while I'm training. And hopefully it makes people more aware. There are basic, generally accepted rules of the trail. I don't want to say that I know them back to back. I front to back. I just don't. But there are generally accepted rules that I feel like most hikers, most trail runners should abide by. Stay to the right is one of them. Unless you're in England or one of the countries that stays on the proper side of the road, which is stay to the left. But in America, North America, stay to the right, right? If you're walking up a trail or down a trail or on a trail, treat yourself like a car. Stay on that side of the road. So that's not the rant. But it happens all the time where people are on the wrong side. And it's like, what are you doing? What logic? In London, imagine if someone walked on your side. Imagine if someone's coming at you on the left-hand side. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, what is the logic here? Where do you get off thinking that this is how? This doesn't even, it feels wrong. So why do you do it? That is one of the rules. Another one of the rules is if you are coming down and you encounter people coming up, you yield to the people coming up because they are working harder. And most often, people who are hiking up, their head is down. Their head is not up, looking up the trail. Their head is most likely down or forward, looking at the trail. So they're not going to see people coming down from above. So if you're coming down from above, you will see them before they see you. And it is most beneficial for you to pull off to the side and let them pass. It's another one of the generally accepted rules. This last weekend, I'm running on a pretty treacherous section of trail on what's called the Mount Wilson Trail, which is a local mountain. It goes up to like 5,500 feet or something like that. It's a really good 14-mile loop. It's 7 miles straight up, 7 miles straight down. You get a good 4,800 feet of vertical or something like that. It's good. It's tough. The first 2 miles of the trail are fairly exposed. You're out in the sun. There's cliffs. The trail is no wider than 3 to 4 feet at a time, which seems like plenty of room for 2 people to pass. And it is in most cases. You can pass with ease, people coming down and people going up. However, it happens all the time where people just don't yield to those coming up. If I'm running up and I'm passing people that are also hiking, I'll let them know at a good distance, runner back, or runner coming up behind you. I'll vocalize to them. If you say on your left, I guarantee you they'll go the wrong way. Because if you say on your left, you're passing on the left, they're gonna go left. And so you're gonna end up having to go on the right. And then it turns into a really awkward thing where you have to tell them, oh, sorry, I meant on the right, or hey, you're fine, I'll see you later. But I'll let them know. I'll let them know at a good distance. So this is what happened this last weekend. I'm running up and I'm going super slow. In fact, I'm probably power hiking a majority of this. I don't remember if I was power hiking or running at the time that the event occurred. There were 4 or 5 trail runners screaming down. I don't want to say screaming like they were elite, like going fast. It was just, I honestly think that they were new, but they had a hydration pack. They had the equipment to say that they were trail runners that have done this before. But I also didn't recognize any of them. I've been to this trail a number of times, so part of me thought that maybe they were out-of-towners who have heard about the legends of the Mount Wilson Trail, so they wanted to come do it themselves. I did not see them coming down the trail. And of course, I'm going around a turn. I stay to the right no matter what. I'm not in the middle of the trail, but I'm staying to the right. Coming around the turn, one of the first guy just like fucking hauls ass and like scuffs my shoulder. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, dude. I didn't say anything to him, but I kind of like turn around like this. No sooner did I turn back around than another guy comes, and then he basically chest butts me with his ultimate direction bottles and nearly knocks me off the cliff. I mean, I had to like get down to stabilize myself from sliding off the edge, and it's a good 100 feet down. If I didn't die, I would have been seriously injured. It's one of those kind of cliffs. It's a no fall for sure. Doesn't say anything to me, just keeps on running. And at that point, I'm like, what are you doing? And then 3 more runners come around, a female, a dude, and another female. And they're all like, hi. And they kind of keep screaming. Okay. So I was super frustrated by this. It's another reason why I think that they were out-of-towners or people from like San Diego or another town that just is not LA, because this trail is fairly popular with hikers and trail runners. And there's kind of this etiquette. And these guys did not abide by any of the etiquette whatsoever. If you are the first runner in a group of runners, if you pass people, you need to let them know how many more people are in your party. That's not for your safety. That's for their safety, because I guarantee you the runners are not going to be paying attention. So if you are told by the first person, like first guy that came around the corner, if he had told me there were 4 more runners coming, I would have stepped off and waited for each 4 to come along. As it was, I turn around to continue forward, and then there's 4 more people. So I had no idea that there were more people. None of the people in the group told me how many more were in their group. That is a big no-no. 2, you always just yield to the people coming up. When I went up the mountain, I had to deal with the backlash of all the hikers that they did the exact same thing to. Because as I'm running up, I'm passing hikers and stuff like that. So I'm giving them plenty of notice as I'm passing them. And I'm wearing a same color shirt as one of the guys in the party. So many of them thought I was that guy and started yelling at me, in which moment I'm having to go, wasn't me, trust me, they got me too, so sorry. They, not all runners from around here are like those guys. How many fires did I have to put out going to the top of the mountain? Too many. I shouldn't have to be putting out other trail runners' fires for them. You're giving us a bad name, group of 5 that I don't know who you are. It was super frustrating. Super frustrating. This is the longest runners rant ever, but it was also one where I almost died. So that is my runners rant. Now I want to look at the chat room because I have no idea what you guys have been saying. Raul says, happened to me with a biker and people walking their dog nearly kicked me off the trail. So loose dogs also do this to me. I love dogs. I'm a huge dog lover, but there are so many dogs who the owners just think are like, oh, that's just how he is. Is your dog the type to just run up to me while I'm running and then bite my ankles? That seems inappropriate and that seems dangerous. And I'll tell you right now, if a dog starts to attack me, I'm going to fight back because I don't know how strong your dog is. I get it's a Chihuahua, but I don't know. It looks dangerous. It has a spiked collar. Chris Ham says, yes, this is a big deal in triathlons. Cody Van Rokel, pie at the top of Mount Wilson snack bar. Yeah, they're also very nice ladies. The ladies that work in the snack bar at the top of Mount Wilson, they're great. I've asked for ice before on hot days. I'm like, yeah. Or I'll ask for water. They're like, hey, we're going to throw in some ice. I hope that's okay. I'm like, yeah, please bring on the ice. We're just having such a lonely day. There's no one else up here. Do you want ice? Do you want like a snack? Really, really nice ladies. Douche waffles is what Jake is calling those guys and girls. I agree. But I also want to chalk it up to them just being naive or inexperienced. But a part of me just wanted to run back down the trail and go, you guys are doing it wrong, and you're giving us a bad name. This is why people in the Grand Canyon get mad at trail runners. It's because there's trail runners like this. How do they not get it? It's nuts. I was actually really curious what you guys thought of this. So I'm going to kind of scroll up a little bit. CJ Burton says, oh, please be about cars swerving towards you. I'm about to throw a rock at the next. That's actually funny. I had a runner's rant about that recently as well. In LA, cars will stop at a stop sign, but they'll only look in the direction of oncoming traffic. They will not look the other direction. So if you're walking across the street, if you're coming from this direction, they're going to be looking that way, and they're just going to pull into you. They're not even going to see you. That's very typical in LA. Yeah, Raul says the same thing happened to him this last weekend. Mountain bikes flying down. Try living in a resort and vacation town like Aspen. No one knows what they are doing and 9 out of 10 of them are out of towners. I've lost all frustration and just laugh at this point. Zach, I used to work on the Seattle waterfront as a barker. I used to work at a cruise line called Argosy Cruises, and I used to talk into the microphone and announce the cruises and like get people to buy tickets and stuff like that. After summers of doing this, as I was like 15, 16 years old at the time, but after summers of doing this, you see some of the worst people, the tourists, right? It's all the tourists. And I got so sick of dealing with tourists all the time. So I totally feel your pain. Coming up at 7 o'clock, we got our 1 hour harbor cruise. We're going to take you on a beautiful tour of downtown Seattle. Excuse me. How long is the 1 hour harbor cruise? We just need to make sure that we get back in time. How long is the 1 hour harbor cruise? It's about 53 minutes. It's like, come on. Andrew Christopher says, or the ones who have their dog leashes around the dog leash across the path, and you never see it until you trip over it and bust your ass. Been there. Gus de Camargo, I've had a dog mouth my leg in mid-stride. Will not hesitate to kick off my future dogs that jump me. Any future dogs, not my future dogs. I agree. Like, there's like a fine line of safety at that point. When a dog, you'll see him from a long way away. You're like, oh no, this dog's gonna be trouble. There's people walking towards you. They have a dog either off leash or on a long leash. They just let go crazy. They're not paying attention. Their dog is obviously paying attention to you. You know, as soon as you run by, that dog is gonna like either bark and jump at you or come and get you. And it happens all the time on some of the trails I run because it's off leash dog areas. The dogs will sprint at you and like jump at you as you're running. And the owners are just like, oh, sorry about that. It's like, I get it. It's an off-leash dog park. Your dog is not trained properly. Put him on leash. Take him out for this walk, but train him. Please put him on leash. This is a runner's area as well, and other hikers. Okay. Bears don't happen that often, though. At least people can do something with their dog, says Raul. Yeah, I agree. I think we've reached a point in the show. We're pretty long. I talked a lot tonight, where I'm going to show you a clip from tomorrow's film. 10%, people. 10%. Oh my God, it's getting warm in my hand. This house is really warm. I just hope that I can keep it together to edit this thing tonight. All right. I want to show you a clip from tomorrow's film. I hope the quality comes through. It might be a little bit laggy. It's just inherently laggy with the system that I'm currently using. So you can deal with that. The audio should come through fairly clean. I don't think it needs much of a setup. I think it's just going to be a clip, and I think you're going to enjoy it. I hope. This is a very small portion of a much longer film. Tomorrow, the Squamish 50/50 film drops. Most ambitious project to date. Can't wait. Here's a clip. You read it wrong, even though it's clearly just 3 words.
Yeah. Thanks, girl.
All right, I think this is.
Do you need to bring that GoPro stick with me?
Yes. Oh, that was the other thing. Waterproof case on this.
Do you need?
I'm only gonna need one of these till Aid Station 1.
Okay. Is there anything in this right now?
Water. So when I get to Aid Station 1,
You're gonna need
two bottles, 2 Tailwind. I'm ready to go. You guys are ready. Let's do this. The morning of a race, I am typically nervous and excited. The morning before the 2 biggest back-to-back races I've ever attempted, I was surprisingly calm. I had given into the fact that anything could happen in an ultra. While I had a plan for the weekend, I was also aware the real battle would be handling whatever was thrown at me. Little did I know.
All right, in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Leave it on a cliffhanger. I'm so excited, guys. I'm so excited to share it to you. Share it to you. I'm exhausted. I don't think I've gotten more than 5 hours of sleep a night for the last 2 weeks, which is bad. That is not how you should live the endurance lifestyle. Unless you're living out of a truck and running in the mountains all day, every day, then it's worth it. Tony asked, how long is it going to be? I honestly, at this point, don't really know. I am still editing it. We're at 12 minutes right now. I think it will be well over 20 minutes, which I'm actually really excited for. Crewing States, the film that I made about Sally's Western States journey, was an unexpected 20 minutes or so, I believe. Maybe it wasn't that long. Actually, I haven't looked it up in a while. But I'm really happy with the result. I felt like it didn't lag at any point. It felt like it told a pretty good story. I just don't know how long this is going to play out. I want to make sure that all the footage from the race is in there. Like, I want to make sure that I show you guys as much of the course as possible. I want to show you much of my story as possible. And I do a pretty good job, as best as possible, of telling the story of my crew, which is my fiance and my best friends, who are kind of following me throughout the days. But they also ran their own race on Sunday, which is pretty neat. So I just really excited to kind of share this story with you guys. It's been a long time coming. I just hope I finish it by tomorrow, because I already made the promise that it had to be finished by tomorrow. But then we ran into so many technical issues last week with the marathon, or with the website and with the buffs, that I lost like 4 editing days, which is just a total bummer. Sam says, I am lucky to have some nice dogs out here in the country. They enjoy running alongside me. Yeah, I want a good running dog. I want a good running dog. Can't wait for the music too. Yeah, me either. Can't wait. Keep your eye on iTunes, guys. iTunes and Amazon and Spotify. Let me know if the single goes live at any point in the next 24 hours. Because I can keep my eyes open for it as much as possible, but it's much easier for you guys to just kind of keep your eyes open and let me know if it's there's more of you, more eyes from you guys, because I will only be able to check it like once or twice, right? So yeah, let me know. Let me know if you guys see it up online. That way I can share it. I'm super excited because I actually like this song a lot. I think it's one of my favorites. This and Stowaway are like this whole new musical kind of pursuit for me. So I'm really, really stoked on that. CJ says, Crewing States was awesome. My wife, who's pregnant now, wants to run an ultra now because she thinks Sally is awesome. Sally is rad. Sally's pretty rad. Works her ass off, manages to balance some pretty crazy schedules, family, work, running. It's pretty cool. I will also be making a film documenting my fiance's first ultra. We've shot a bunch of it already. It will be filming the race itself, which is October 18th, the Oregon Coast 50K, which is her first ultra. That's a film I'm really excited to share with you as well. It's called Balance, and it's going to be a really great story because I didn't really document my first ultra like I wanted to. And that's one of the questions I get the most is how do you jump from marathon distance to ultra distance, or how do you do this to that? And I think showing someone who's actually going through it and someone who actually does it will be just a really cool experience to watch and a really cool story to tell. So I'm excited about that one as well. Che asks, Ginger Runner, are you running Sean O'Brien distance? I think the Orcas Island 50K is that same weekend. I'm running the Orcas Island 50K because of my roots. That was the first mountain I ever climbed, and I climbed it with my dad when I was very young. And every summer we would go to Orcas Island to go camping and spend, I have so many memories from Orcas Island growing up. It's 100% my childhood, my roots. And there's a race there put on by Rain Shadow Running. Awesome running crew. They put on some of the best races I've run. The Gorge 50K, which I ran last year, is Rain Shadow Running. Or I ran it earlier this year. And I'll be running it again next year. Hopefully the 100K. And I believe the Orcas Island 50K, which is tough. I think it's like 10,000 feet of elevation change or something. I believe that conflicts with Sean O'Brien. If it does not, and there's a good gap between them, I will most likely run the 100K because I think that's a Western States qualifier. I am looking for a Western States qualifier earlier in the year so I can just take care of it. I can just qualify and not have to worry about the stress of having a qualifier, because I want to do that. I want to run a Western desperately. Going out for a quick run. Until next time, Ethan. Thanks, Raul. Thanks for watching. Back on board, says Baker McCool. Can't wait for the music. Make it a 1-hour mini movie. I wish. I don't think I have that. I have hours of footage, but that would be really boring because a lot of the footage is just like it's selfie footage. And I have a real problem with just making a long movie of just selfie footage. Every Ginger Runner live is selfie footage, and I have a hard time with that. So I don't think I'll do that. I don't think I'll make it an hour-long Ginger Runner face running through beautiful woods movie. That's something that I'll just make for myself and masturbate to my own face. That's how it goes. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for the show, guys. I don't think I'm going to do much of a post-show, maybe a couple of questions, because I want to get back to editing. I need to put food in my system. I don't know what I'm going to do for dinner. Dinner's overrated, right? But I want to get back to editing. I want to get this thing cranked out. It is now 7:23. It's going to be a long night. Yeah, and maybe throughout the night I'll share some stills from the movie. Maybe I'll start posting some stuff up on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. If you guys want to stay up super late, just keep me company. Do it. Do it right now. So that's it for today's show, guys. Again, I appreciate all of the support on the buffs. I cannot thank you guys enough for the support. I want to do stuff like this fairly frequently. Now that the system is in place, that should work, hopefully. I won't have to worry about the website going down and all that terrible stuff. So the buff pre-orders are going to be wrapping up tomorrow. You still have 12 hours. Basically, I want to close the pre-sale when I upload the movie or later tomorrow day. We'll see. But you still have through to tomorrow to pre-order your buffs. Do it now. Just go do it. If you want to buy a buff, you want to buy one as a gift, go do it now. I would hate for it to be the last 15 minutes and me go, hey, last 15 minutes, and then the whole website crashes again. I don't want that to happen. And I don't even want to try it. So go get the buffs. Podcasts will be updated eventually. I'm so sorry for those of you who like these podcasts. I know I want to transfer them to MP3 format and upload them. It's just because of the new website, the server transfer and all that stuff. It's been a process. So be patient. They'll all go back up and then some soon. The new film tomorrow, when it drops, if you guys would not mind and sharing it and tweeting it and sending it out, it's one of those things that I'm really proud of, and I would really love it if more people saw it, more people got their eyes on it, because I'm really trying to up my game, and this is a really big step in me doing that. So it would be great. It'd be great to get some help. I think that's it. I don't think I'm missing anything else. If you would like to donate to my New York Marathon charity for UNICEF, please do, because I am so short of meeting my goal. If you go to gingerrunner.com, there is a blog right there on the front page that's helped me get to the New York Marathon. I think I'm at $500. I still need to raise $3,000, and I've got about 20 days to do it. I'm going to be pushing it a lot, and I hate doing that. I hate hey, I got to beg for money. For the charity, it goes to a good cause. It goes to the kids. And actually in the blog specify exactly where the money goes to help. So which is a really good cause. So yeah, I need to raise another $3,000 in the next 20 days. That'll be the big push like next week. So if you don't want to do it today, don't worry about it. Don't even sweat it. If you don't have the money, don't sweat it. Don't even worry about it. Not a big deal. So that's it. That is it. I appreciate you guys watching tonight's show. We'll see you guys next week, Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as always. We'll probably talk a bit about the film that'll be posting tomorrow. I will hopefully also have a guest on, and we'll have some updates and all that good stuff. That is it, guys. I hope you guys are getting out there training hard, racing harder, and partying the hardest. I already have seen so many updates from people who ran this last weekend who have been racing hard. So that's pretty dope. And we'll see you guys next Monday. You can follow me on all the social networks. On Twitter, it's @TheGingerRunner. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/TheGingerRunner. Instagram, it's @EthanNewberry, because the Ginger Runner already exists. And GingerRunner.com, the new home. That's right. It's all been revitalized, revamped. See you guys for a very brief post show. I hope that's cool. That is it. See you guys next week. Bye. Thanks guys. Thanks for tuning in. I love it. We had some good numbers tonight, which is rad. I love seeing new viewers, people who haven't seen the show before live. I try to do as much interaction as possible. When I have a guest on, it's tough because obviously I want to ask questions for myself and then ask questions from the chat room. Raul says dinner is done. Thanks, Ethan. You bet, man. Let's see. Eaters fans says for non-drinkers, how about train race ice cream? So I have a lot of fans that are non-drinkers as well, sober people and people who just choose not to drink, and I 100% respect it. So with the buff, what I wanted to do was, it's not just train race beer. It's actually two sides. So the other side is train hard, race harder, party hardest. So you never even have to show the beer part at all. It can all be about train hard, race harder, party hardest, which I wanted to make sure that I did that. The other thing is that I actually have a lot of why not train race wine or train race ice cream or train race veggies or train race bacon? Why not fill the blank with whatever you want? So the goal is in the future weeks to come out with more t-shirts on the Zazzle store, which is a third-party store that they just make the t-shirts and that's it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to keep inventory. I can just design new ones like that frequently, just stockpile them. So that'll happen, and I'll actually put out a post asking for submissions, and we'll just make those shirts because it's no sweat. That's easy for me to do. But right now, the timing is not going to work out. So I could do a train race ice cream t-shirt. That's not a big deal. Their athletic gear, their running shirts that they do on Zazzle, I have not purchased one, so I do not know the quality, and that is what concerns me. I only want quality stuff to get out there. So I have not bought any of their running material shirts, but people have. And they've said that they're pretty good. I've seen some pictures of some, and they look pretty good. But anything that I put out, I want to make sure that it's the best quality I could possibly make it. So if there's any sort of technical shirts or anything like that, I might do special order stuff with those soon, which is going to be fun. Very excited. Let's see. Just bought my buff. Happy to support. Thanks, Raul. I appreciate it, man. Ethan, do you believe in calf compression leggings? Leggings, huh? Like the calf sleeves, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't wear them while I run. I don't wear them a ton. If I do wear them while I run, it's usually to keep my legs protected from underbrush, poison oak, poison ivy, any of the kind of stuff that's going to cause an issue with contact with my skin. I have worn them a number of times while I sleep because I have pretty easily strained calf muscles. Because I run through so many different shoes, if I jump between two shoes that are vastly different, I tend to get some aggravation in my calves, which results in me having to wear calf sleeves to sleep. If I Newton's is a good example. If you're not running in Newton's every single day, you're going to have issues jumping between Newton's and other pairs of shoes and going back to Newton's. It's inherently going to happen. So I try to be as easy on my legs as possible when I start reviewing the Newton's, which I'm running through 3 pairs right now. So anytime I run into some sort of calf issue, I always like to throw on my calf sleeves at night. However, that does compression work? It's all up in the air. I like to think it does. For sure. Chris Vargo says late to the party. Yeah, Vargo, you're real late. Vargo in the house. And Vargo, you're only going to be in the house for like a couple minutes because this show's about to end. But thank you for showing up. Vargo, did you get my Instagram message? That's like the worst way to try to get in touch with you. But I'm serious. I really want to schedule a time to do rim to rim to rim, and I need a guide. You're the only one I know that's done it and is probably willing to guide me and or run slow to guide me. You might not be able to do it slow. Does Zazzle make technical t-shirts, something that feels good to run in? CTAM, they do. Like I mentioned, I have not run in their technical t-shirts, so I have no idea how comfortable they are. However, I do have vendors now that make technical t-shirts, like branded stuff. So I could, now that I have the pre-orders up, I could do a full-on custom technical shirt pre-order system where everyone can order a large, medium, whatever the size they want beforehand, like what we did with the buffs, but with sizes, and then I just go put in the order. So we could technically do that, but that's down the road because that's a whole nother level. But I want to make sure that the buffs get out first because there's a whole side of that whole thing that I have not dealt with yet, and that is the shipping. I shipped all the ones off eBay, but this one is the first time I've dealt with like shipping orders, over 500 of them. So it's gonna be crazy. Chris Vargo, damn it. Chris Vargo, you know when this show starts, buddy. It starts at 6. You're an hour and a half late. You're probably out running or taking pictures of yourself in stars or something. Better late than never, says Dan. I agree. I'm your man. Let me know. Normal life, Vargo, slow. Those words don't go in the same sentence. I agree. That's the problem, is that if I want to do rim to rim to rim, Vargo will be like, all right, let's do it at 6:30 pace. Be like, let's add 6 minutes to that. And then some. Oh, Magic Ace 101 loves Chris Vargo. Yeah, actually, this is a good question from Eaters fan, Vargo. Are you going to be back to Who's in Tomorrow? You're going to defend your title? You're gonna take home another paycheck? I've been curious about that too, because there's really good payouts at Who's in Tomorrow, really good prize packages. And the race is it's well put on. I'm thinking people are going to be gunning for you this year, Chris. You had some good competition last year, like Jesse is super fast, and who was it that got 3rd place? Was it Nicodemus? Because Nicodemus also what did Nicodemus just do that was like incredible? Was it the Tahoe 200? I forget what it was. Cody says, Vargo, I saw you ran with James Walsh this weekend. That's pretty awesome. Hey, James Walsh. Yeah, Vargo's probably already left. He's probably like, oh, show's over. I'm going to go play with Colt. All right, that's it, guys. Any last minute questions? I'll take like 1 or 2 more questions as I'm kind of going through the comments. I probably missed some earlier in the show, so I apologize about that. The good news is that the stream didn't break tonight. That's good. So I feel like it's broken every week. YouTube just has this wonderful way of breaking everything during my show. It's such a pain in the ass. Yeah, I really want to do rim to rim to rim. It's been on my bucket list forever, and the run crew talked about it at one point, and it's kind of gone by the wayside, I think, at least since I've talked to him. I will not be there helping Jamil for the Sky Race here in Flagstaff. Oh, good idea. And I think Jamil was actually watching the show. He might still be watching the show. That's great. The Sky Race will be happening in Flagstaff, which is Jamil's race. Jamil was on the show last week, talked a little bit about it. It's going to be a beautiful race. Chris, take some photos, take some video, document a little bit of it. I know Jamil will, but I want to see some pictures of the beautiful Flagstaff. I need a road to trail to road shoe, and I like reduced shoes. Any recommendations? I'm struggling with Kinvaras because there are a few downhills where I don't get good grip. Eric, if you're let's see, in the Kinvara style, I know that Saucony makes trail shoes. I have the very early Peregrine. I think it was Peregrine 1. I did not like it, but I've heard that the Peregrine has changed a lot since that iteration. Some of the good road to trail shoes that I've been kind of jumping between now are like the Hoka Huaka. The Hoka Huaka is a trail shoe. I use it primarily for trails, but it has some really good midsole material that's exposed right in the midfoot that makes it easy for roads. You're not dealing with like lugs and stuff like that. It might be too much cushioning for you, but it is a responsive cushioning if you're coming from the Kinvara. Another option, a little bit stiffer, but is awesome, is the Solomon Sense Mantra or the Solomon Sense Mantra Pro. They are really good trail road shoes. They're just stiffer, more responsive, really good on technical trails, really good on like some buffed out stuff. They're fast. I love them. And they actually work on roads as well. But just know that they are a little bit different than the Kinvara and a little bit stiffer. So I would look into that. But there are options out there. How many days a week do you run? 5 to 6, some weeks 7, depending on how quickly I'm building up. This last week I did 6. I was able to do 6 in addition to all this because I just needed to get outside most days. Are any of the SoCal running crew coming up to Park City for the North Face Endurance Run? I don't know. I actually don't know. I am not. How's the Huaca holding up? I'm on my second pair and it's holding up great. Second pair is holding up much better than the first pair, which I believe had the glue issue. They fixed the glue issue in the second pair and future pairs. It's great. Managed to survive half of the 50-mile during Squamish 50-50 and then the full 30K the next, or 50K the next day, plus all the training that I'm putting into it since. So killing it. Oh yeah, the Terra Kiger. A lot of the Nike shoes would do good for road to trail to road. You will wear the traction out quickly because the outsole is not very resilient. It'll wear out really quickly if you start incorporating roads. So that is an FYI, but the shoes are very comfortable. Moving to Colorado in June. Can't wait to run in the mountains. You should come do a race out there. Yeah, Lori, I would love to. I really want to get to Colorado and do some of the mountain races. It would involve a lot of acclimation to elevation. A lot of time out in the mountains. But with the new edition of the Ultimate Direction Fast Pack 20 in my review rotation, I'll be able to get out into the mountains. Now that the weather is finally changing here in Southern California to be a little bit more moderate, I can get out into the mountains and not worry about overheating and all that kind of stuff. So I can spend some nights out there and really enjoy it. So I'm excited about that. And getting up at elevation will be much easier. And I'll be able to kind of adapt to Colorado running, which would be great. Just pre-ordered a buff. Thanks, Jeffrey. Appreciate it, man. And I think that's it. I think that is pretty much it. Yeah, Chris is saying, edit, go edit. So that is what I'm going to do. You guys are fantastic. I appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. As always, go get food, go get drink, go spend time with your loved ones, go pet your pets. That's pretty much it. I got to go edit. I got to go lock down. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.